Hello.
Hello, everybody. Here we are. I
Uh,
realised last week, Abby, that the comments, people are there, but we don't see the comments for quite a bit of time afterwards.
oh,
So,
really?
yeah, so there's quite a delay. And when
Mm,
you did your Abby at
yeah,
work, your map, people were writing
yeah.
and I could see them, but you weren't getting the comments till about 20
Ah,
seconds later.
um,
So that was the
well,
problem. That was
it's
the
because
problem.
because what is delayed, it's not me. It's comment dire? There is the filming. The filming is delayed,
Oh,
so
I
it
see.
seems like you see me live, but you see me with 2 or 3 seconds late.
Yeah.
Hello,
Oh,
Kylie.
hi, Kylie. Aren't you lovely?
How you
She's
doing?
there with bells on,
First,
always.
first.
First person in. It's really reassuring, isn't it, to have a person come on live.
Yeah, yeah. It's always.
Can I
By the
thank you
way.
for doing your Abbey at work the other day? I thought your map designs were just stunning,
Oh,
um,
thank you.
and just beautiful. And then you said to me afterwards there were other things you felt. Hi, Joanna, lovely to see you. You felt like there were other things that you could do, and I had this idea you could put up some examples maybe on our website or whatever, and people could say, I like this one, I like that one, a dark map, a white map, a landscape, a portrait, and I
Yeah,
like
maybe
that
I could do
background.
something like that
Yeah, down
because
the road.
it's yeah. Comment dire, we are persona grata, and we don't want to. It was kind of completely something different, and I felt bad not being able to just talk about the map. I was
Yeah,
looking at maps before doing the maps, and I just wanted to comment them so bad that
yeah,
when I and I was like, oh, it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna be able to talk about it.
yeah.
But when I was into the design, I couldn't do that because I'm
You're into the
someone that can't
design.
do. Yeah, I was into the design. I couldn't talk about it, and that really frustrated me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I feel like I could try to separate that and
yeah.
make it not especially something that need to be live. I suppose some of the people that saw what it is could see if they're interested in it or not,
Hi,
keeping some
guys.
examples.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think I'll do maybe some by myself and see if people are okay with it
yeah. Were you
or
going to
stuff
do
like that.
Vanessa's today? I think you said you were going to do Vanessa's
Yes, yes,
after
yes. I'm gonna do I have three. Yeah, I think I have
live.
three last one to do. There is Vanessa and some other. I'm sorry, the name. I remember the name that I did. Hi, Katrina. By the way, I
Yep.
did your map.
Yeah, hi
Right.
everyone. Look at all these people here. I can't wait to
But
see you. Oh,
yeah,
hello, Judy. Here you are with your red lipstick on. Good peacock. You have to keep the standards up. Don't stain your tracksuit and don't do your hair. It's like I did. It's funny that peacocks say, I like to dress well because otherwise I just feel like I lose myself. Isn't it funny, Abby, the topic that we're talking about today, pandemic, there's growing
yeah.
pains. And I had a
Mm,
couple of clients this week, and I've had feedback from a lot of, hi, Renee, had feedback from a lot of people on Instagram, which I find really valuable because it
yeah.
gives me a bit of an idea of what's going on. And people were saying as we lose this structure in the beaver times and we're moving more into the feminine, I think layers of stuff are now starting to come up because we've been in here for a long enough time, you know, of this way of being. And it's growing pains. And as I said to you, kids who are growing physically, they literally can get very sore legs. They can ache when they're growing as adolescents. And I think we're hitting some growing pains on the feminine inner level. We can't go outside, so we have to go inside. Hi, my darling, Trevor's here. So it's like we have to go inside. And what is it that we face when you start to go inside and you have this time where you don't have the distractions of busyness, like frantic lives, scheduled lives? I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got here, there, and I barely have a moment to myself, and then I collapse. We have a lot of distraction techniques that are well developed. Hi, Deborah, and I hope you had a
Hello.
lovely birthday. Both you and Judy had birthdays this week. Um,
Happy birthday.
and happy birthday to Jazzy. If Jasmine gets on at some point, it's Jasmine's birthday today, if the internet works in Dunsborough, which it often doesn't. So we have our distractions of not connecting with discomfort and thoughts that might be horrible or feelings we have. Would you agree,
Mm,
Abby, that we have these distraction techniques? It might be I'll go and well, we just get busy, don't we? Or we can go to our addictions, we can go to whatever,
yeah.
and we can be so busy that we can avoid ourselves, and we have avoided ourselves, and our world has avoided itself, and looking too closely at where it's going. And now you can't avoid yourself so easily. Hi, Tamsin, lovely to have you. What are your thoughts about that, Abby?
comment dire, me, I always work at home, so I I can imagine, I can completely see those exits, if I can say, that you can take.
Yeah.
Bon, me, I still take the same exit, voilà, say eating or I'm gonna do some video games or it's connected to addiction in a way.
I think it's very much connected to our addictions that are
Mm.
coming up. That's what I think. The growing pains. Don't worry about sending a mapping yet, Nigel, because it
Yeah,
may
don't worry,
change
Nigel.
over the
Uh,
course. Remember, everyone, that over doing the weekly course that we're going to do,
yeah,
that you're going to do one persona per week, one map section, and you're going to learn, and there may be a change in your map. So there's no hurry, and Abby will still be doing it,
yeah,
won't you, darling,
yeah.
after when we
And
finish
all,
the first term.
obviously, it's still also like not fixed. So it's
Yeah,
really pirate style.
yes, it's not fixed. So, hi, Jojo. See, look at all the people who are here. It's just so Sandy, hi.
Hey.
Just brilliant. So we have our distractions. Can I just give
Mm.
this other analogy that I thought of today? Eden and I, and you as well, we've been doing jigsaws a little bit, haven't we, Abby?
Yeah, yeah, I played for yeah, yeah.
You did a bit?
She did most of it, but I just come and
Yeah.
it's too organized for me.
Oh, it's too organised for you.
I need
Hi,
too much
Mum.
organization, and I'm just coming and put a mess on the board.
Hi, Leonie. Lovely to see you. Okay, so I've been doing the jigsaw, and it's really I'm addicted. The only thing that stops
Yeah.
me, I just go and sit there, but my back it kills my back when I'm doing it. But as I'm finding them minute
Oh.
little pieces, it's a oh, you can't wait to start, Leonie. That's brilliant. I mean, Leanne, that's wonderful. As I start putting the pieces in, and I'm in this particular part, I've only done a third, and I've spent weeks on it, Abby, because there's so much that are similar colours, and
Yeah.
it's really really strong. Anyway, I put the little pieces in, and then I get up and I go off and do something else. I come back later, and I see the big picture of the jigsaw. Now, while I'm doing the micro little pieces, I have no sense that I'm doing this bit here, I'm doing these stones here, I'm doing this waterfall here, I'm doing this tree. I'm just totally in the micro, tiny little bit. And then when I walk away and I come back and I go, oh, I can see the big picture. This is what's going on for all of us. Our lives have been very much just being the little cog in the wheel of the little jigsaw piece without seeing the big picture of life necessarily because we've been too busy, distracting ourselves from seeing the big picture of life for all of us, but also our individual lives. And now we're getting this pause time, this profound pause, which could go on and off for 2 years. We're getting this profound pause time, which is forcing us to go to a different place, and we can feel lost. We can feel like, who
Mm.
am I? I'm sort of losing my identity a bit here. I don't want to lose myself. What we're talking, you can't lose yourself. You can't lose yourself, but you can lose the structure that you've put around yourself, the scaffolding, and that can be very terrifying. But I'd also say if you are starting to lose that structure, celebrate it, embrace that, let yourself be in the unknown. How do you do with being in the unknown? How does your swan do with that, Abby?
Um, if I use the example of the jigsaw that you just did
Yeah.
and connect it with, sorry, what? Can you repeat the word? Sorry.
So the unknowing, relax,
The unknown, yes.
going into the unknown. How well does a
The,
swan do with the
it's like you
unknown?
don't know, it's like you don't know what is around. You don't
Yeah.
remember what is around. And trying to remember it without even seeing it is give you this height scare. When you're scared of height.
Oh,
See,
so you feel that's how you feel. It's like that. You and I share a fear of heights. We often,
you don't see it anymore, and you feel like it can be just an empty hole where you can
yes,
just fall and never come back from.
that's it.
See, okay, bah, voilà. But
And
yeah,
and then what are your coping strategies to deal with the unknown then? Because I think the child in all of us is, as we said, addictions. So so
yeah,
what do
it's
we do to cope with? And people are overeating, and we understand
yeah.
that.
Voilà, c'est ça. I was about to say it. Let's go back to diabetes.
So we
I'm
get into
kidding.
that
I'm
unknown, and
kidding.
it's like we're on a precipice, we're on a cliff. People are also having dreams,
Yeah.
powerful dreams and disrupted. So I'm not sleeping well, but I
Mm.
think I'm picking up on a whole lot of stuff. Grounding yourself in nature makes you not scared of not knowing. That's a really, really important thing. for swans to be grounded in nature. If you're too into the virtual world, too much screen time will exacerbate our fears, I have to say. Yeah, your swan wants to settle. We see the swan has a deep fear. The deepest fear for swans is ambush. And therefore, if I'm ambushed, I'm going to be exploited and enslaved. So I have to be on guard all the time. And so the unknown is particularly terrifying in that way for swans. Would you agree, Abby?
Yeah. Being ambushed.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like even being ambushed, it's like there is nothing to be ambushed for. So I don't know if I'm clear on what I'm saying. It's
No. Being caught off guard, being exposed and caught off guard, how would your swan do with that?
En fait, the way I see it is that I am even more in a relaxed zone, so even more in my number 6, and this is where I'm the most fragile.
Yeah. Yes, you are most,
So,
because you've
so of
got,
course the ambush is strong feeling, but also I'm scared that even if I'm ambushed, there is nothing that I can protect. So, my swan is so pessimistic that he can even sometimes feel like we're on the verge of the end of everything. Let's
yeah,
be super pessimistic. So I'm scared of having nothing to be ambushed for, like to protect. I'm scared to, like the positive swan trait is to grow, is to be self-sufficient, and I
yeah,
feel like potentially I'm not gonna even be that. So this is, you see what I mean?
yes. So are these thoughts that you've had going on in these last few weeks in the background, have they been pretty present?
Sorry.
Have those thoughts been in the background in the last few weeks? Have they been pretty present?
Yes, yes, yes.
And what does that do to your energy and to your outlook on life? Does it make you more pessimistic? What's the effect?
Wow. See, it's more than just being pessimistic. It's killing my lion. There is no fall.
Yeah, yeah,
My motivation is like going a bit lower, and I'm trying to push. We all try to push, but I have so much excuse to just be relaxed now that we are at home and everybody have to stay home. So no one is kind of, come dire, it's you're not proactive as you used to be a month ago.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm just getting comfortable in my number 6, comfortable in my home, and I feel like, yeah, it's it's hard to tell how it's hard to tell because I feel like I'm still confused. Also, I don't
yeah,
know what's gonna happen. I'm still confused,
yeah.
and I'm a bit on the spot right now.
Isn't that just what swans want? Put it out in public to
My
1,000
number two
people.
dog. My number two dog. You see, this is how much I'm triggered. Like, I'm on the spot and I just can't get out of it.
Yeah. You can't get out of it. Oh, look, Judy's just said, Abby, I love your honesty and vulnerability. Yeah, so
Thank
do I.
you.
So
Thank
do
you.
I. Do you know what, darling? I feel like we all may have had, forgive me for probing you, but I'm a raven. What else am I going to do?
Yeah, we
And you're
need
sitting
that.
there.
We need
Yes,
that little wimp to wake up.
I know they crack on. I need to crack open and see what I can get
Yeah.
out. What I reckon is a lot of people have hit familiar negativity stories. It's like, we've talked about in last year in some of the lives, the ring of fire. We've got our divine, our soul right at the core of us, but we have all these child things and our lessons like a ring of fire that you've got to go through if you're going to hit that elder part of yourself. And in that ring of fire, we have our personas coping mechanisms, we have our emotional addictions, but we also have our belief, our stories, our negative stories and deepest fear stories that can just be around and around and around. And they're sort of coming up, but they're coming up for a reason. If they're just sitting in the background like yours are, Abby, then we got to notice that our energy is deflated, that we've got a heaviness about us. We've got
Yeah.
a lack of joy for life, a lack of energy. Like they're actually undermining you subconsciously all the time. And we need to, they're all saying tremendous courage. They're all saying you're doing great, Abby.
Thank
Everyone
you.
always says nice things to
I
Abby and
don't,
Jessie, and I
I
get
don't
fuck
think
all.
I do.
This is just how it goes. I get fuck all every week.
Thank you. I'm just honest. Literally,
I know.
I'm just honest.
It's interesting. My lion's hit a bit of contraction with lion too. And it's like, well, you can put your ambitions in the bin from now on, Katie. Like, just chuck them out. Forget it. It's just this world, we're in a feminine
I
place.
feel
Lion
the same.
ambitions, just not going to, it's just don't go there. It's not
Yeah.
about quantity, it's about quality, it's about service. Serve and let the unknown take care of itself. I love the unknown. My life has been decimated so many times, and my raven actually loves it. I just think, oh, thank you, Nigel. Thank you, Chloe. Thank you. See, I'm terrible. How
All those
manipulative
lovely
am I?
people.
No, but seriously, I love the unknown. The raven loves the unknown, and I
Yeah.
get that this is my area that I'm actually relishing. This is wonderful. Absolutely love this time. But it doesn't mean my negative stories don't come up. It doesn't mean there's new space for me to have things come up that I could generally push away and bat away and send to vault number 423. And I think we've got to watch for those. If what's our energy, what's that energy like? Are you flat? Are you low? Are you a little bit
Yeah.
lost? And I've noticed that in you, Abby. There's like, and I think it's that existential. What's the point of life? What's the meaning of life? Is there going to be a life? It's that stuff that, and there's a negative answer from your child swan, and I think it's really draining you. Is my observation, and you've got Nightingale sick.
Yeah.
6, and you are
Six.
sick
What
Nightingale.
is sick? Yeah.
So your
Like,
Nightingale's gone into, I'm sick, I'm tired. Do I relate to that
vraiment
one?
ça.
Just a little bit. So I'm sick. Thank you, Katrina. Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, I was just being sort of a little bit funny. Is it putting that emphasis on the home persona, literal, and the map? Yeah, I was going to get to that, Mum. I think that's a really good point. I think our
It is.
home personas can literally be coming out now. Obviously, I mean, some of you wrote back to me last week after our live with Jess, and they said, "Well, I'm still working. My life hasn't changed at all because they're carers or they're healthcare workers, and they're working." But a lot of us are at home. But I think our home stuff coming out and our parenting style is coming up. If we've got our partnership style, of course, it has to be the feminine side of the map, doesn't it, Abby? It's got to be
Yeah.
our partnership persona. It's got to be our home persona number 3 and 6. And where our number 1 goes is the first default setting. So what's the point is a very big question. And if you've got Swan, and Ravens, let me say, you can tend to go, well, there is no point. If you go to there is no point, you are fucked. You are absolutely shooting yourself in the foot. Even if you haven't answered it consciously, if that's just the energy that you're carrying, it's the weight of the world on your Nightingale shoulders.
Mm.
And the Nightingale can't cope with, there's no point. She can't actually manage that.
See, it's also like it's also a stage I think where we have to see realistically what is the chance for the dream to happen. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, take it
I agree,
like taking
Chelsea.
it this way.
Yeah.
It's really like I have those things that I want to do. I want to be doing this, and you're like, comment dire? It's funny because we are at this moment where we feel like I can potentially put time on what I really, really want to do. But at the same time, you have all those excuses being like,
Yeah. Or the
yeah, but
procrastination.
potentially my dream ain't gonna happen because potentially the end. I don't know. That's really negative to one point of view, and it's like it's not what I really think because as soon as I think of that, I can see myself be like, no, man, no, this is too dark. And definitely, if I was in a bad marriage, bad place, I will be way more in child. I could see that if I
Yes.
was going in child, you can I can completely be like, this world is off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna drink myself to sleep every night and I'll eat whatever I want. I can see how easy I could sleep in that. I could sleep in that. Being in a child, yeah.
So we've got to look at everyone. So Michelle's just said something interesting. For those who go to work, they come home and home's like a prison because work is everything, which is overwhelming and unbalanced. Yeah. The conspiracy fear stuff has absolutely done my head in, Chelsea. I have compassion, but I absolutely, and I even know that there are grains of truth in some things, but where people are going with it, and I see where it takes them, and it breaks my heart. It actually breaks my heart. And then when I hear, I don't really believe it, but I think that there's some merit in them, people are getting sucked in. That's actually viral. It's another virus that we need to be very discerning of. It does not uplift you. It does not give you a meaning of life. It does not help you feel like you can serve. It does not energize. It does not promote love. It promotes a lot of fear and hatred and division, and them versus us. And we talked about that. It's interesting, overnight, in the last couple of nights, there's been protests in America, in different states, and it's growing, where these bloody swans, child swans, don't tell me what to do, oppositional defiant swans. If I want to be close to someone, you can't tell me not to socially isolate, and I don't believe there's a virus, and I think it's all conspiracy, etc., etc. And out they come with their guns, blocking people from going to hospital who are literally on the verge of death. They're blocking people from getting to hospital, so they can't go to hospital because they're protesting. And this is there's Michigan, Texas, Ohio, Oklahoma. States are growing, and Trump is feeding this. He's saying, fight for your rights. They're trying to take away your guns. Texas, they're trying to take away your guns. Virginia, go for it. So it's almost like inciting the civil war all over again. And if you just step back and you look at the behaviors, you can name the persona at work, and you can see the playing with that, but it's all blame. It's fundamentalist, black and white. You're right, you're against me. You either believe this or you don't. It's angry, it's disempowered, but it's setting off just extraordinary things. I think we need to watch closely, not be drowning in it, but be aware of the child dynamics and child reactivity that's playing out on the world stage, let alone on our social feed on I know, Crystal, I totally get that. It just must be awful for you, my poor darling, in Arizona, to have to watch and see that that's going, because the majority of people don't believe that. But there's a very loud minority that are whipped up by Trump, and he's doing this to try and ensure his election things. He has to blame someone. He has to blame China. He has to blame because the child can never take responsibility for anything. Okay.
Thank you, Nigel. Thank you, Sarah. By the way, I completely relate, Nigel, to what you just say, and really happy if it's make you easy what I'm saying, make it easy for you what I'm saying. Yeah. Like literally, if I'm not honest, there is no point doing those discussions. No, there's no point doing persona grata stuff.
That's right. That's exactly right. They are dangerous, Crystal. But you know what, Abby? This is like parrot, because we're telling the true stories. And when you share your true story as a light parrot, and we're both parrot in relationships, when we share our vulnerability together and the growing pains that you may be having, I've set Abby up to have to do stuff and pushed him to do work, which we had to be adaptable. These times are making us all have to be adaptable in ways we might not have chosen. Adaptability is a very feminine thing, whereas the masculine likes, well, this is my plan and I do this and I turn up and it's 9 to 5 and I tick these boxes and I come home and then I do this, and that's what's gone. And we're having to be adaptable and do things which we may not continue for the long term, but we need to do them for now. But they will have a silver lining. They will have a gift in a skill that we've stretched ourselves to. It will take us to an adult, more elder place and be a little gem that helps us be more of ourselves in the future, because I think where we want to go is to be a richer, fuller version of ourselves after this. I don't mean louder, but I do mean a richer and a fuller in all shades of colours and emotion and awareness, and that we need to have different feelings come up that we're uncomfortable with, that we haven't had before, and we're not losing ourselves. It's just that we're able to connect and listen. It's a listening time. It's an adaptable time. And there's a silver lining to everything that where we're being stretched to. And if we can trust that and know there is a point, and that to heal from masculine to feminine-led world, competition, market-driven greed to compassion and looking after everyone, that we have to have this upheaval over years, well, let's embrace it. Let's be part of it. Embrace it, but also document our journey honestly, which is what you and I are doing. That's what we do. We're opening up a new portal and
Right.
a new paradigm of love. This is a portal, and it's uncomfortable. It's like when Harry Potter and they disapparate. They feel sick and nauseous first time when they do it because, oh my God, I've just moved into a different place. This is a portal, and it's unfamiliar. But if you are feeling that you are in unfamiliar territory, can I ask you all to give yourselves a gold star, because your beavers will still like to have acknowledgement. Be raw, get a gold star, and go, great, that means I'm growing. I always used that when I was doing intensive therapy 30 years ago. If I was really uncomfortable in tears or broken and raw, I thought, triple gold star, well done you. That's what growth looks like. If I felt pretty much in charge the same, well, I'm not growing, and I didn't want to stay the same. Ancestral traumas are being acknowledged, and slowly during this time, I think ancestral, thank you, Nigel, our ancient traumas from our personas, from the swan history, from the raven history, all of those fears will come up because this is life and death. So, of course, they're coming up. But then this change and this adaptability. But if you get stuck into a pessimism or a heaviness, Abby, the sick nightingale, overwhelmed, swan, a little bit depressive in the background, what is the point? Is there even going to be something? What's going to be in my future? Then that actually makes taking advantage of this opportunity very difficult. Would you agree? It makes it very, very difficult.
Bah oui, of course. Yes, sorry. Yes, because because you're not getting ready of it. You're just not getting ready for a potential comeback to normal life.
No,
Is it
please,
gonna be
God,
the
never.
same? Is it gonna be okay to go back to the life we were having when after this time of being locked down and kind of like socially distancing, where if I suppose if you were already having doing the best thing for you, if you were already doing what you meant to be doing,
Yeah,
how comfortable? If you, I mean, if you're not, if you're doing a job just to survive, and it's something you didn't like and you lost
yeah.
it, what is going to happen if we go back to a normal life where the condition is going to be the same?
They're not gonna want to go back to that life.
That's what I think also.
There's an awakening, Abby. This is hence the ravens out there going, yeah, I love these times. It's a portal. It's a paradigm shift. We're reweaving the fabric of our life. All of these comments from you great people. Um, and it's about, I think this is a time where we're reevaluating who we are and what we want and our values and what really matters. And in
Mm,
social distancing, we're connecting with the people we really love, and we will value human connection way more after this. I have no doubt. And we'll spend less money now, but we'll spend it doing creative things like art supplies are going through the roof, music's going through the roof, those sorts of things, craft things are going through the roof, the sales, because that's a meditative time, like my jigsaw is a meditative time to just zone out and just let myself be and have a little bit of peace, a little bit of connection. But after that, there's a little bit of a rebirth. There's a little bit of I'm able to listen on a different level, and it's so important. Nobody wants to go back yet. There's so much more to learn, and people are getting frantic about we have to go back to school. Schools are not what matters. Learning is what matters. Learning is what matters. Learning in a new way, learning how to cope in a crisis for our kids, learning how to balance creativity, nature, a little bit of fun, a little bit of rest, a bit of storytelling, and a tiny bit of work a day that's actually how we need to have our learning from here. And we need this to go on longer because obviously the governments haven't got it yet as they throw us back into
mm,
school systems too quickly. But anything that's not done right, there'll be a hit back because we need to get it right. We need to get this lesson. So
yeah, yeah.
there is a point, Abby, and I
I
guess
trust
we're
the
all,
Raven world.
hey,
I trust your Raven world. Not world, but the world you say.
being a herbalist and a
I want to trust that. I want to trust what you just said. That if we're not doing the right things, it's just gonna slap back to us.
review.
Okay. Oh, I think we lost Katie. Eba, I don't. I think she probably have like a little internet issue. Okay. Well, but I'm gonna read you guys just to see and wait for her to come back. Alors, Yes, exactly. It's awful. It's about time. Yes, I can finally get back in being an herbalist. Oh my, grave. But yes, it's the time. I think so too. Now we're just like rediscovering what we're all about, I suppose. Hello. um, if you never really put forward your real passion, what is the real love you have for your life and what you really wanted to do, yeah, going back to a normal life, it's gonna suck. I want to say. I've stopped feeling poor because I feel free, safety in my remote backyard. Yeah, that's just one thing. Being remote in your backyard. That's pretty good. Not growing any has been being essential to keep this job. Come back, Katie. Yeah, I need Katie right now because I'm not sure I can provide any more insight. He's just gonna be parrot now. Anyway, some French, please. Bonjour, comment ça va? Ça va bien. During this time I bond, my daughter and mom have changed. I can't say if it's stronger because that is how it's always been. But had major, I don't know. You don't know how to describe it. Well, it's gonna be. It's have to be challenging, I suppose, when to just reconnect with your family. Here she's back. Oh,
Hello.
um, but I hope it's gonna go for the best. Sometimes, yeah, we can see you. Thank you for being back. Literally, secretly, just shit myself a little bit.
That's okay. Now,
Yeah, the connection is not great. Yeah,
I think
okay. So the building is probably not the best. No, Kava. Can you talk?
so. What's happening?
I don't know. Maybe we can try to redo another live. Do you want to start again? Yeah.
Yeah, do it. Start again.
Okay. So you can at least you can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but we'll be back, guys.
Yes.
We'll try to
Yes.
fix it.
Start again. We'll
Yeah.
come back,
We'll be
everybody.
back really, really soon. Okay. In a second.
Just to let people come back. Now, I was listening to you, Abby, going, "Oh, I need Katie back," and I was trying to get back on, my technological, how great I am at technology. And then I
So, yeah.
came back on, and then I could hear your voice and my voice repeated 5 seconds later after I
Yeah.
spoke. Oh, it's terrible.
Mm.
Talk about do your head in.
Well, that's an
Okay.
issue.
Are we
I hope
back?
we should be back. We're just gonna have to wait for people to.
Okay.
They
That was a
probably.
great discussion.
Yeah.
Good discussion. Good discussion. What have you been
What?
thinking as we've talked about this? I think this was probably a good discussion for you too. What is it? Is it helpful for you for us to talk about this today with that pessimism in the background and that to be aware of that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're the
Yeah.
back. Is it helpful
It's
to name that, Abby?
it is it is really helpful because it's one of the things that literally I felt and knew at the beginning is something that's going to happen to everyone.
Yeah. Hi,
And
Jess.
it's just make more sense, because it's one of the condition of it. It's one of the
Yeah.
condition. We have to be okay. Hello, c'est bon. People are coming back.
Thank God.
Well done,
They said
Ashley.
you did really well without me.
I tried my best. It was only a few minutes, but it felt like hours. Not even a
Oh,
minute, I
Abby,
think.
that is so funny. That is so funny. But we have to tell them that I remember we were going to announce to
Here we go again. Oh no. Ah là là. She probably.
September that last night came up. I thought, oh my God, no, the new lives.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think she probably have some internet
People
problem.
won't have
Uh,
until May.
yeah, you can see that. I don't know what it means. It was working just before we came back, so we thought it would be okay to come back. I love your message. Thank you. I'm doing. Yeah, thank you. Love your message too, guys. Bon, bah, I'm by myself again. Do you want to come help me? Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna have some help from my wife. Hello, Eden.
Hello.
She was just.
Hold on, let me get a check.
Yes, please. Okay, so Katie's coming back.
Is she coming back?
Yeah,
Okay.
but you can come.
Okay. Just so you don't get stuck
she's
here.
way more interesting than me, I promise. She's the right choice. Hello, Eden.
Oh, hello.
So I'm just, yeah, you can use that.
This is
when
love.
you're
I'm in
mom.
pajamas and I'm not wearing any makeup and I'm a peacock at home, so
Yeah.
yep.
So Katie's normally back. Here we go.
Oh, hello. Thank you,
Hello.
Eden.
Hi.
Yeah, I get some support because I wasn't sure to be able to do it by myself.
Do you know what I think we could talk about just this second while we're here? We're mentioning.
Oh no.
Oh.
And ask her.
Oh, and she's gone.
Oh.
All right, I was going to
Okay.
say something because I was thinking while we were sitting down there. By the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know for anyone else. So I've got Beaver third, and I work a 9 to 5 job. So I'm having to work at home at the moment. I'm on day 27 at home, and I don't know if anyone else has Beaver. I am counting those days, or I've actually got a list of how long I've had to be at home.
Concerned about that. Yeah.
But I've really loved it, and it's forced my Beaver to slow down. Something that I'm not very good at naturally, and it's making me, it's sort of you're forcing me to go inward a little bit. Like I'm finding out a lot of stuff about myself that I maybe didn't have a lot of time to really process or cope with because I was always just so busy. And I think for a lot of beavers, like being busy is an easy way to mask underlying stuff. So yeah, it's actually been really great, and I'm almost sort of dreading going back to the normal Monday to Friday in the office style of work. I've actually really loved being at home. I do like being able to go out. I'm missing the gym a bit more, if I'm being honest. I'm not down with this home workout stuff. I'm really trying.
Yeah.
But I found that
you told
hard.
me like how do you call it, the pandemic 15?
No,
No,
that wasn't me.
it wasn't you.
No.
Okay. I heard like some people call it like not pandemic, the one with 15 for 15 kilo.
No, I've got no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, well anyway, I just heard that from someone.
Yeah, no structure is killing my beaver. Yeah, a lot of people enjoying the slow. And it's really weird because I thought that I was going to really struggle being at home. But this is actually making me rethink how I want to work when this is done. So I'm like, can I negotiate having some days at home where I'm allowed to work, or am I going to change up my entire 9 to 5 Monday to Friday sort of structure? I just feel like I'm going to really struggle to go back to Monday to Friday in an office work after this. I don't know if anyone feels the same, but I'm actually a little bit anxious about it, and I'm kind of hoping we get a little bit more time
It is because
at home.
there is some advantage of just being at home compared to being at work.
Yeah.
But also I can see how your beaver is still just trying to take some control.
Yeah.
When you're at home, knowing that I am at home most of the time, I know what is my task. I know when to clean and I know when to do some things for the house. And with your beaver being at home, you have to put more task on it. And I can see you do some of my tasks.
It's like you feel like you have to do more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're at home. I get that for sure.
Okay. We're gonna try
Mum's
to have
going to
Katie
try and
again.
come in again.
Let's hope it's gonna be okay, but if she's not, we're just gonna try to hold.
See how we go.
Yeah.
Another try.
Another try, okay?
Another try. Hello.
Oula.
Hello.
That's right.
Hello.
Oh.
Hi, can you hear us?
Eden.
Hello.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, just
I think the building have to be
it may not work.
Yeah.
Well, we're waiting to see if that comes through. I just want to I think Joanna asked how my Nightingale was coping with this, and I'm primary Nightingale. And my Nightingale has loved being at home with Abby. Like that's You know, I'm just happy to
I'm
be
nightingale at home, so it's
and Abby's a nightingale at home, so
yeah,
we both actually have oh mum, we
yeah.
both
So
actually have nightingale sort of in the home right now. I've become far more aware of Abby's nightingale since I've been at home, because obviously I'm not usually around him during the day, and
yeah.
I'm seeing how his nightingale sort of is dealing with all of this
Mm.
stuff. My nightingale's been pretty okay though. I've at the start, I guess for me, we've been sort of in this weird space of dealing with the
Mm.
bushfires like everyone else had at the start of the year, and I dealt with that in my job. So I've gone from dealing with the bushfire stuff to going into dealing with coronavirus stuff in my job as
Yeah,
well, and
yeah.
my nightingale has felt very heavy at times, mostly. But I think after the bushfire stuff had happened, and I was really carrying a lot of heaviness on my shoulders then, I think. Um, I kind of just slid into the coronavirus stuff without even thinking about it too much, because I was already at this heightened awareness of
Yeah.
just shit going down in the world and things happening, and so my
You're
nightingale, I
kind of
feel,
ready.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I've just been sort of ready the whole year of just bang bang bang, whatever's happened has happened.
Mm.
But I can definitely feel like there may be a time where when this is all over, that my nightingale is going to have a crash, because I probably am not aware of exactly how much I'm carrying at the moment.
Mm.
Especially because this isn't just, you know, seeing it on the news every day, whatever. It's my job, so I see this emergency stuff every Monday to Friday. So I'm sure there'll be a moment where it quietens down, and then I go, oh God, like that was really, really heavy, just as everyone else is going to
Yeah.
have at some stage. Um, but overall, my nightingale, because I'm with Abby and we are seasoned professionals at being in a small space 24/7 with each other, so we're okay. So yeah, I think Beaver for me is the one that's really struggling. Oh,
Yeah.
we'll try again.
Let's hope it's okay.
Hello.
Oh,
It
this one looks
looks fine.
better.
It
Looks
looks
better.
better.
Is that working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Here we
I keep,
go.
it's the internet in my building. It keeps cutting out. So,
Oh yeah.
Right, you go, you go. I've been ranting at them for
no,
for a
Eden, can you just stay there?
Yeah.
Eden, just stay there for a moment, because I wanted to bring up something that I think is really interesting. And we were looking at what's our number 6.
Yeah.
And if we've got a lot of number 6 happening, I think we've all got a bit of a love-hate relationship with whatever we've got number 6. Do you know what I mean? So, and then it's hard to be in it, isn't it? Because there's a lot of it that we don't have. So I've got Beaver 6, and so my Beaver's wanting to put structure in and get organised, and then I feel overwhelmed. I've done too much. It's killing the other parts of me. And then you've got, it's interesting. We may be forced into personas that are not as strong as the other ones, and we don't actually necessarily like those personas a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It just, so what are your thoughts about that, both of you? Hi,
Well,
everyone. So sorry.
I'm getting that with my peacock. I actually laughed before when I was listening to you both, because you'd said, you know, the number 6 is more heightened now.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you're going to see more of that. And I'm like, I just spent the whole weekend online shopping. I'm peacock at home. So I promised myself, I was like, I'm just going to save this whole paycheck. I'm not going to do anything. And then I've just done like 6 online orders, and I'm waiting for all these lovely things to arrive. And I'm like, oh God, this is the issue with having peacock at home though, because
Yeah.
I'm at home all the time. So
and you know what? And that's what, if you look at the peacock, what do when they go to child? They shop.
yes. Yeah. That's the comfort, the coping thing. So
Yeah.
like I don't do it with food. I don't do it with anything else at home. I do it with
You
I
shop.
want
shopping.
some nice things.
And
You have to get that blue chair, Eden. I'm telling you, it's essential.
I know, at some stage. Well, I've spent all my money now on other things, but I will get the blue chair.
Oh, good. So, Abby, you've got nightingale six, and I say sick,
Well, sick.
but you keep waking up heavy
Well,
and sick, and oh my.
come on, dear. Yes, I feel sick. Like
Hi, Rance.
literally.
Rance has just joined us from New Zealand. Hello, he found us.
Oh, hi, Ran.
Hello.
So great. Yes. So how are you feeling, nightingale 6 there, Abby? Vu?
By Nightingale 6, I just feel sick all the time, and I feel.
And you have been. You've been sick
I've been
for
sick
like
all
a
the
month
time.
and a half.
It seems like I have COVID-19 because just I am sick all the time, and I know it's not. I know it's not that, because I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna be okay, and I'm gonna have just a little bit of wind, and I'm just gonna sneeze for half an hour. I need to blow my nose,
It's like you have it's
I
like
have
every
the worst
morning.
beginning days
Yeah, every
for like a
morning you
month.
wake up and you have like an allergic
Yes,
reaction to
yes.
life. Like,
There
that's
you
what it
go,
seems like.
Eden. That's
And
it.
I know also because now, comment
I
dire,
don't think it's 6, Scott.
je
Swan's
vais,
not 6 for you, but we'll discuss that in the
je vais
group. Keep
dire,
going.
if I have to go also more forward, uh, because I work at home, work in my office, and I'm also parrot, so I'm loud. So I like to put a lot of music, and I even like to sing when I'm by myself.
Yeah.
And even if Eden is my half, I'm not gonna sing because I sing really bad. So
Well, we do the same thing. We mute certain things about each other that we
yes,
don't want to
yes,
show the other
because
person because we feel embarrassed or we don't want to
voila,
do it.
there is this thing in Nightingale where you don't want to be embarrassed and to
Yeah,
show
Yeah.
yeah,
yourself.
that's true.
And even if I love her, my like what I need I'm not gonna sing.
No, but you're missing. So you're missing that soul
I'm missing
food time
something.
of the
Yeah.
loud singing and freedom of that. You're missing that. Faye's
Oh,
just saying, I wonder if it's Abby's empathy. The world is fighting sickness. Jess says we need to get in
that's
touch with Sparrow because hello.
Mm.
oh yes.
There are a lot of playful happiness and creative stuff. We do that's a great way to our souls. But I think Eden, you just said the right thing there when you said Abby's waking up with a dread of life, and that's from his swan.
Yeah.
That's from his swan. This dread of life, this pessimism of what's my point, what's my purpose? Will I not be able to have a family and protect them and do all this stuff? And
Yeah.
because you've got this over you, it's making your nightingale sick, darling.
I think it's also, and I was just saying before when you weren't there, Mum, that it's while my beaver, while I thought my beaver was going to struggle with this being at
Yes.
home, it's actually given me really valuable time to go inward. Where
Yes.
beaver, by being busy all the time doing the Monday to Friday, I didn't have any time to really look inside and go, okay,
No. No.
are you all right? Is this where you want to be? Is this, just feel some of the things that I haven't let myself feel. And this
Yes.
last month has allowed me to learn so many new things about myself because we have been just at home and even though I'm working here, it's just allowed me to step away from that routine and to learn
That's wonderful.
some stuff.
That is the opportunity. That is the opportunity. And it's not always comfortable what comes up. I think that ring
Yeah,
of
it's not.
fire comes up. And I think we can have, I've heard people saying negative body image stuff coming up, particularly as they've been eating a bit more because they're home more and they can't get out as much. So the old stories of self-criticism on any level are coming up, and they really need to go in the shredder because that's a child coping mechanism. When we're in pain, the child turns on us because it didn't want to feel pain, and all the coping strategies were supposed to stop us from feeling pain or discomfort. And yet we are going through pandemic growing pains. It's a portal. It's so that we reweave a new paradigm of life. We have to expect growing pains and uncertainty. But we need to not buy into the negative stories because they're anchors that we can't take with us.
Yeah.
We in the new way, they're not going to fit, they're not going to serve us in this new world that we actually need to co-create together. And it starts from how we live our own lives at home.
Well, and I think like even and on that too and how things will change, it also highlights things that maybe you've been ignoring that you
Yes,
needed to
definitely.
honor during that
Yes.
time. So I know that a lot of stuff that's coming up for Abby now is a lot about like things that he had honored in himself and that he has just sort of lost for a long time and needs to bring back. And for me, I'm learning about having to actually change my present and change my routine and change it in the way that you're describing it. So
Yes.
I think, yes, there has to be a new way forward for everyone. And it can be very, very tricky for people to navigate that. But it's also a time to really maybe step back and go, oh, have I honored those things that I wanted for my life and those things I wanted to do?
And those questions are the questions that need to come up. The big questions need to happen, but we can't go to cynicism, conspiracy, defeatism. No. There's no point because honestly, it's fuck child. I don't care who you are. I'll say it for the rest of my world.
I've stopped looking.
Josie, yes, Raven 6. That's why you're going into purpose a lot. And yeah, we did all choose these times. We were all chose these times. It's in our contract. It's in our destiny. It's a fate moment. But every time, the wound is where the gifts are. The changes, the fate moments are where the greatest learning and wisdom is. And so, and it's just fascinating to go through it all together. I mean, I think it's wonderful. It's not necessarily easy, and there's grief and there's bereavement and there's pain and there's security issues, genuine ones. But on another level, this is fantastic, because I didn't want our world to just keep on going mindlessly, doing the little jigsaw pieces, but not knowing the big picture of life. That was killing us, and we were heading in the wrong direction, into a less and less loving society, a less and less compassionate society, where more and more people were marginalised and suffering horrendously. This is the wake-up call. This is the revamping. So, yeah, it's an amazing time, isn't it? We need to let ourselves be reinvented.
Absolutely.
D'accord.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I wanted to just highlight what Katrina said, because it's actually pretty interesting. She said that she felt super lucky because she has dog 6, and that's her missing animal. And so because she's at home, that's naturally give her more dogs. And that's that's really interesting. I mean, yeah, it's really interesting. Like being at home and that's your missing animal. Yeah, I saw some maps that have that.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah. You have an animal, but it's not your missing animal, so it's different. But yeah, just wanted to reveal it as because on the personal fact is actually interesting.
It's really interesting.
The number six is like your half trigger, half what
maybe
you understand.
Abby, maybe even 2/3 trigger and a third we like, and 2/3 is a trigger. I think it's bigger than half and half.
Okay. I don't. Yeah.
You think about when you're in Swan, how Dark Nightingale can trigger you. I know Dark Beavers trigger me terribly. Dark Peacocks trigger Luke. You, Eden, big time. Dark Peacocks trigger you. I can think of all the people I know, and if they've got a lion 6, I can't stand arrogant lions. So it's about learning to appreciate that, but keep it in balance. Yeah, we're going into 4, 5, and 6, more into our secret identities right now, potentially. There's an idea.
Well,
because we're not able to be out.
We're not out. Yeah.
More of our secret stuff sort of coming through, which
but
is
I think
interesting.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I feel like that's sort of the key to you sort of becoming more whole, though, isn't it? Because it's like you have to bring those 3 things through, and if you can honor the light parts of that, which are things that maybe you don't usually focus on. As I said, like if I'm at work and I'm too busy to think about feelings, think about, anything like that, there's no real opportunity for me to grow. Whereas now we've got that opportunity.
Exactly. And it's about wholesomeness. And Faye's just said, if capitalism is Earth's cancer, is COVID-19 the cure? And I would say I agree with you there. I was listening to Michael Moore.
I would love that.
The latest Michael Moore episode, can I just say on Rumble, Michael Moore with Dr. Cornel West, that fantastic human rights activist, the black human rights activist who's a professor at Harvard and Princeton. Brilliant activist, just stunning personality. On the latest Rumble, Michael Moore interviewed him, and he said he had to walk away from the camera and was in tears, and so was I. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever heard in my life. I just love it. It just makes me feel so connected. And he said Michael Moore started the whole thing with saying there's 3 viruses we've got. We've got COVID-19, we've got capitalism, and they're American. They're saying Trump is another virus, but he is the head point of a viral way of being, which is narcissistic child, malignant narcissist. And that these are the viral things that our Earth has to deal with, and that's where we're up to. I highly recommend, if you're wanting to feel inspired and to hear that there are other people on a similar wavelength, then we cannot go back, and we have to reinvent our world, and we have to. They said they felt such love and compassion for humanity, but they also felt that they wanted to fight for it. And I thought that was an interesting way of both of them having lion. Light lion is really strongly, let's serve the world and be generous. But if you are a light lion about bringing love and compassion to the realm, and it's going to be our time to step up, and Michael Moore's going to put up next week some ideas about how we can collectively be part of the movement coming forward to address this. And I think, wow, let's do this work and let's be in tune with that and see if there are things we can be doing. Yeah, I think I did address that, which was, Trevor, that Mish was saying we have. What about that you fear going back to normal is about what you need to change. I'm dreading DJing again. Yeah, so going back to normal is telling you what you don't want and how to change it. I was interested, Edith, in you saying maybe you could work a few days from home in the future, that would make life so much better. We can't have answers yet because this has to have time to be organic and evolve. But isn't that interesting, the 3 viruses? The virus is about what's ill with us, how we cut money from health systems, and yet these are the people who are most essential now. All those sorts of things. We find it's highlighting where we've been going off track really, really badly. And it's neoliberalism, it's capitalism, and it's how we've got to come back. And we need more pain yet because they're not going to willingly change this. But I think it's helpful to be educated and aware and to find people who know about this stuff and way better than I do. Let's make sure we're well informed, I would say.
So,
So what are your thoughts about that with the viral stuff on multiple levels? Have you thought about it that way, both of you?
the virus stuff on multiple layers?
Yeah, that it's a representation of what's virally wrong with our world, that an underlying sicknesses in our world. It's like everything we talk about in our lives. If I'm sick, I know that I need to go in deeper and see what's wrong. There's another layer. Abby, you're sick, and we're just saying that's because you're allergic to life and your swan was pessimistic about life because this was going on the background without you addressing it. I reckon as you address this, you're not going to wake up sick every day. So if the world is sick, it's pointing us to look at where we have had our priorities wrong, our values wrong, and to get back in alignment. That's what sickness comes to teach us.
This is too theoric for me to say what I think of, because it's gonna get really, like, I'm scared that even that is not enough. I'm scared that the whole structure is just gonna be too strong to be defeated this way. I mean,
I think it's going to come back to normal.
The little numbers is just getting stronger by the big numbers that is losing more and more. Like today, financially, the one that is losing the most is the one that ain't the biggest. The one that don't have trillion of million to survive.
Yes.
Like little shops, not even little, just average, normal restaurant chains that ain't the part of the 1%.
Yeah.
It's just gonna go fail into the economical impact of it, and the little numbers is just gonna get even more little, but even more stronger. This is what my swan is really scared of, and I think that even I don't know if the virus is gonna be the problem. I think is the state of humanity after. That's where that I'm potentially the most scared of in terms of global thinking, not even thinking about myself.
Yes.
I think you're right, because I have the same fears. I see, because as you said, like you're bang on about the numbers that are being, affected by this. This is lower socioeconomic people with small businesses, people that have had their livelihoods sort of shattered. They're the ones that bear the brunt of this, and we're only going to add to those numbers the longer this goes on. The unemployment rate, all that sort of stuff, that will grow. But I believe in strength in numbers, and I believe that when you've got a whole group of people who have not experienced this before, and people that aren't, weren't on the brink of homelessness, like this has just completely thrown a spanner in the works, this has completely written off their life. When you see these people come together and then they experience what so many others have been experiencing for just forever, I feel like there's going to be more compassion and more empathy in the community, because people are going to have a better understanding of what it is like to go without and what it is like to not have all of the things that we have. And I'm hoping that there's enough wisdom in our community that people are able to rethink their privilege and able to take a real look at, okay, if you survived this, if you made it through the coronavirus with a roof over your head and your family is safe and no one is sick and everything's fine, it's your community obligation to look at that and say, well, okay, what can I do now? Because so many people weren't as lucky as I was. So.
And it needs, the only way we come through this is with grassroots community compassion for each other.
Yep.
And we're seeing, you see lovely stuff where people come together and offer different things, and they put on music stuff together, and that's the arts, writing, music, dancing, a bit of humor, like they connect with each other. That elderly World War II veteran who walked all those laps, and he's made over £20 million for the NHS. Beautiful, beautiful soul. And we can make a difference, each of us. It's going to be about reorienting. We've got a being of service for the community. So however can I connect with community now and be of help with what I have? And the answer is, Abby, is always about what we love. And you were talking about that when I was off. The answer is do and offer what you love. What you're very good at, what comes naturally, is do and be. The cure for the pain is in the pain. So we need to go in those places, and then we need to do and offer what we love. And be available, and it requires some sacrifice, because that's how you are an elder. That's what makes it sacred. Is sacred requires that you make a sacrifice to give of yourself to others, and to give of what you have. And we all came for this. So as it all breaks down, and I honestly think we're going to have waves of pandemic stuff, and if we don't get it from this, Abby, your fears, then another pandemic will come, or a different spanner in the works will come, or we'll get out of this, and then we have
I was going to say that.
And I was listening to an expert of all pandemics through history. That was what his PhD was in, and he said there's always second waves that come through. So we'll go back out in the world for a while, and then there'll be another spike in numbers, and then we'll go back in again, and we're going to have this little pattern, and then there can be other ones, and then there could be something that we can't foresee right now, because I really believe the divine, the feminine, the times are over this next 5-year arc is what I'm getting. It's going to take 5 years, and that would be rapid, incredibly quick, to turn our world on its head. And so if we can just go with the flow with that, catch the wave to where that is. Climate change is going to throw massive spanners in the works. We get back into September, October, we've got fires happening again on the East Coast, so and then there'll be
This is the thing. It's
we cannot forget climate change. For the moment, we are really into something else, but
the consequences from this, though, like that's
something to take in the mathematics of the solution.
But even if coronavirus, they do end up relaxing things over the next couple of months, which I'm still a little bit skeptical if that's going to happen yet. But if they do end up doing that, I think I agree with you 100%. I think that something else, if we haven't learnt the lesson, something else is going to be thrown our way, and we're going to have to try again, and you try and learn the lesson. But I also think that you can see there are all these disruptions happening in the background that aren't in our foresight, because we are so focused on sort of staying safe and not being sick, and just surviving at the moment, that every time someone brings up economics or the economic impact of this or blah blah blah, I never think of the money. I think about what it means for like international relations, what it means for countries going forward, who's going to want to work together going forward with America, what is trade going to look like, and that, like, this whole, and with that comes the capitalist system, and what is that going to look like if it is destroyed. So there's just so many layers to this, and so if we do end up going back to normal in the next few months and you're back in your routine, we're not going back to normal, though. Like, it has changed. Everything has changed because of what's happened over the last few months. And it will continue to change. We're not going to just be in a new world and that's it, No.
Well, it's growing pains. We're going to have ebb and flow, aren't we? Someone wrote that earlier, ebbs and flows. So we're going to go forward and realise things. And then you have the arcing back. So we've got people saying homeschooling works for my children. I was just talking to Sandon on the phone before we came on the live, and laughing about how he'll never, ever be on one of these lives. Jess and I were talking about that live. He's Robert Kardashian. He's never coming on. He's just, no, he doesn't exist. So really funny. And saying to him, though, if I had you kids now, and this happened when you were little kids, Sandra would never have wanted to go. Sandra would never have wanted to go back to school ever. Homeschooling would have been. He would have thought this was heaven. You can imagine. So we get some realizations. Some time at home would be good. This matters. My priorities matter. This is changing. And then you do have international trade. All those layers. There's political changes, post pandemics. society has always changed radically, and you can really only name it specifically in hindsight. But trust me, it's going to happen. But I think I find it so reassuring for my raven, and I hope this helps your raven, Abby, and your swan. If we haven't got the lesson and we're a bit slow learners here, we're going to get beaten about the head with more things to come, because it actually has to happen. It actually has to happen. And so it'll keep coming until we have re-embedded this new paradigm in this world. We are going to have more ruptures until we get it, is what I think. And that gives me great comfort. It's like, okay, you might think we can go back to the world as normal and everyone goes back to school in 2 weeks, it's going to be normal. Yeah, get real. It makes me laugh, actually, because you're not getting it.
No.
How much has this situation highlighted mental health? Thank you, Michelle. It is no longer taboo to talk about mental health.
No.
True.
No.
Fantastic. There's so many good things that you can see coming out of this. And the growth of compassion is the bottom line, isn't it, Eden?
Yep. And where I work, we've had even correspondence from really major, like, big bosses really feeding down the line into, like, providing as much support they can to us, whether it's free counselling over the phone or all these different things for your family and just for me. Like, there are all these things that workplaces are having to implement now, because they know they're not going to have fit staff to come back to work if they don't take care of us. Like, it's
so the taking care of people is becoming a priority. Amazing. Who would have thought that could happen? You know, Lifeline has had the highest rate of calls through March ever, broken records, because of the loneliness. And some people are great in volunteering and calling people so they get to talk to people, but having that sense of, you know, if you're at home and you're bored and you're wanting to know what to do, being able to contact and talk to people is a great thing. Just to have a chat, how are you doing, is a really important thing. But it's growing compassion. It's so important. But that, I love hearing that they are now thinking more flexibility over beaver rigidity. So if we go from dark beaver, Jess, thank you for reminding me, and security is real security only comes, this is Dr. Brad Evans, who spoke on Russell Brand. Real security only comes by how well we look after for the vulnerable. So if the vulnerable are well looked after, we're all secure. If the vulnerable are not well looked after, then we can slip through the cracks and we can become one of those. And the other thing about, instead of work, is about creativity. So it's a time to go through some quiet time, some still time, some inner time, and the arts will take you to your intuition and your soul voice and feelings that you may not have time to do. That's a constructive thing to be doing in this time. Would you agree, Eden, with your jigsaw?
Yes, with my Sistine Chapel ceiling.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely the arts, and I liked what you'd said earlier as well. With, you know, all of the arts and crafts stuff are going out the door, musical instruments, all that sort of stuff, and it's like seeing what people actually value when they're stuck inside.
Exactly.
You know, which is, and same thing. Like, I've been watching Andrew Lloyd Webber's YouTube, the show must go on thing, and, you know, Phantom of the Opera was out yesterday, and there was Jesus Christ Superstar. There's all these great musicals, and it's like, oh my God, these are the people that are getting, you know, absolutely nothing right now. And we're still sitting here enjoying that. And that feels really, quite upsetting that's because it is something that we just need.
Yeah, I think it's outrageous that we are not paying the artists. I mentioned this last time, the artists and that's where we go to. But the child beaver is actually frightened of artists because they're philosophers. They're different. They're radical thinkers. They're usually of left-leaning philosophies, compassion, society. They embrace the vulnerable. They embrace the individuality and the creative talents. They're not conformists. They're the last people who are going to conform. And so they
Oh no!
Oh no!
Just tried to move it away from the sun.
In Australia for the first time in decades.
We can. Oh. Oh, she was doing so well.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, good.
Yeah, good.
What she was saying about arts. I mean, I can't finish her sentence.
Yeah,
well,
I was listening.
I'm just having a look. Michelle's just said same, Eden, at my workplace, and I've noticed in my male-dominated industry that even the men have acknowledged, and no one is judging that. Yeah.
What is it, MH?
Mental health. Yeah, I've seen the same thing. I've got a couple of colleagues that I've had for Well, I haven't had them for a long time, but they've been working there for 20 years where I am, and they've only now just sort of come out and said, oh, I've been suffering depression and I actually need to take a month off or whatever. And work's just like, yep, you go, you do what you need to do.
True, yeah.
Super supportive.
Especially after the fire, like.
Yeah, and after the bushfires and everything, it's really important. And I know they're focusing on mental health for volunteer firefighters and things like that, so I assume they'll have to do something similar after the coronavirus stuff. And these are all for Mum. Sorry, I'm having a look
It's
in the
okay.
comments.
We can just try to be homophobe. We are too. We are stronger.
Medicine isn't meant to taste good. I love that, Scott.
Yeah, true. True that. I'll go down. Yeah, the fate. That was very recent thinking. Katia the
Yeah,
third, Australia
Mum.
has the most mature emotional in terms of care toward the vulnerable.
Vulnerable, yeah. Yeah, and
As
it's
our leader
really,
lead us to, yeah.
it's really tricky because for me as a beaver, and I could say this while Mum's not here,
Have
she's a raven, but I really struggle because I
Is
don't.
different. Hey, go ahead.
No, I don't. I love the arts. I love people that work in the in creative industries. I used to be a singer. I mean, I've got Nightingale primarily, and I grew up in a very musical household, so I actually really value the arts. And
You're Nightingale first, also.
yeah,
So
so this
fine.
is for me.
You
It's a
have a
bit
good
different.
balance, I would say.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, so my beaver isn't really triggered by the arts very much. Have we got her coming back?
Yeah, I think she's back, but she's
Are we?
still a bit robotic. But
Oh,
you
it's really
just
funny.
Hello.
Yeah,
oh,
hi.
hello. Yeah, there
Oh,
is
it's
someone.
super
I think
exciting.
one of your neighbor is just like watching too much Netflix.
I don't know
Yeah,
what's happening here. I'll just
downloading films or I don't know.
um oh, even ours looks bad now though.
Yeah, it's a share,
Oh, okay.
I suppose.
Sorry everyone. This has been a
Just
bit.
we can, but as soon as 14, we can finish. I suppose I don't know. I wanted to leave the last word for Katie, of
But even
course.
why is ours so bad? Look
I
at our
don't know.
image.
No, it's share. It's share.
Okay.
Like we are from the phone,
Yeah.
and this is what is actually happening.
Yeah, I know. It's just
Yeah.
bad. Sorry everyone.
So yeah.
What time is it there? It's 2:15 in the afternoon. Trevor Roy. Okay.
I wanted to say that I kind of agree with the care of the vulnerable in Australia, especially with the fire. When I saw
Sorry
like
everyone. What time is it there?
all
It's
the
in the afternoon.
person that were ready to invest into helping fire
I
workers
feel like this is
and
glitching.
all the
Like,
benevoles.
oh, it's
They were,
exactly how it's meant to be. I don't know what's happening with the sound.
voilà.
Okay, even else isn't good though.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mum wants to come back and finish off her point. She may want to.
Yeah. But I hope that this is going to get better for her.
Yeah.
De toute façon, it's okay to have a bit extra time.
It also might be because everyone is now at home all the time, and so the internet's struggling.
I think we're gonna have to do something for internet, like just trying to get a better one, I suppose.
If anyone has any other questions or anything, feel free to write them in now so that Mum can come on and answer them.
To finish my point, I just wanted to say that I agree with the vulnerability, the help of the vulnerable. In one of my favorite shows, there was a sentence that say, "The best leaders are the one that is defending the
vulnerable?
not the vulnerable, the honor of the vulnerable."
Okay.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Could you make this sentence?
Yeah, the honor. No, that's the sentence.
Voilà. The dignity of the vulnerable.
Yeah.
And this is how you realize what is a good chief. And what it was interesting during the fire is that didn't come. I suppose everybody will agree that to say that it didn't come from the prime minister, but from the people. In fact, I saw that in the people. Just the care and people investing to help those that needed the most help. Like all the fundraising and
for sure.
And I really felt like if something have to change in Australia, it's gonna have just to get from Australian people themselves.
Yeah. And we are going to value probably a lot. We're going to value Australian businesses more. I've already seen this happening. Lots of people supporting Australian-owned business, trying to help small businesses here as much as they can. Realizing that you actually need to support your neighbour, first to make sure that everyone is okay. And so there are positives that come out of this. But thank you for. I just didn't notice coming. Thanks for embracing the uncertainty of this life. But I'm glad we got a little bit back with her. Mum just commented, you've probably seen. She said, "Sorry, I can't get back. Can you tell people we have one space left in our course. Weekly 2020 Vision Sonar Mapping course?" She's got, but that's 2. Monday 2:30 and Wednesday 10 a.m. So does that mean she has 2 spaces left?
Oh, she can put. I think she can put it in both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. She's trying to come back.
She's trying to come back. Should I allow her?
Yeah.
Let's try.
Try last time, everyone.
And then maybe we'll go. Finish, but hopefully it's the good one.
Let's see. Up.
Oh!
Oh my God, am I there?
Yes.
It seems like you are.
Oh, we can finish together. That's great.
That's good. As if you can have the last word.
I mean, we have one place on the Monday group and one place on the Wednesday group. We've had a couple of last-minute cancellations because life has happened. Some big stuff's gone down and they're not going to be able to do the weekly course. But now that we're ready to go, Monday, tomorrow, 2:30 Perth time, 4:30 Australian Eastern, or 10 o'clock on Wednesday, which is 12 noon on Wednesdays. If anyone was vaguely thinking about it, we're very excited about it. Just get in touch with me. There's still a chance this afternoon you could jump on. We'd just love to have you. But it's been a really interesting conversation. Eden, I was going to ask you to come on, and I'm so glad you did. It just added so much. But I thought you'd say no to me, and I thought I couldn't cope with the rejection this morning, so I just said, didn't worry about it.
If I see Abby flailing on his own out here, and I'm sitting on the couch in my pajamas with no makeup on, this is commitment.
This is commitment. Peacock at home.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful though. Look at this.
Look at we said you're our clickbait. You're our clickbait.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I think we've had a great time looking at these questions today. We're going to be doing this each Sunday, Abby. In May, we'll have our subscription lives up, and everyone should look forward to. Abby and Jessie are going to do one on their own each week.
Potentially. We'll see. It's on the idea. We're brainstorming hard on that.
Yeah.
We'll try to see what is the best form.
Yeah, and we might even get Eden coming in every now and then with a few wise words.
Yeah. I walk past with my wine glass. Do you want any wisdom from me?
Exactly.
Peacock at home, hello?
Peacock at home, where's the champagne, where's the white wine? Exactly. That's exactly how it is.
Exactly.
All right, but it's so lovely, and we as a family are wanting to be of service here. And it's always just brilliant to have you with us, sweetheart. It's always
happy to be here today.
That's just great. It's Nightingale times. We talked about that a few weeks ago, Abby. And we are definitely in a Nightingale decade. And so Nightingales, don't get lost in that malaise and being sick and overwhelmed and pessimistic. There's no point. There is every point. This is the most important times that we all chose to be here. And we've got to just come from compassion. That's what we have to do from here. We're growing compassion. We're growing soul.
I just say you lead with kindness every day. Just lead with kindness and everyone will get through.
That's it. And when we feel like being judgmental, remember that that's the old way, the blaming way, the negative way, and just look at the hearts instead of the words, where you're not agreeing. And if we can get past those ideologies and get into heart, we'll know that we're starting to make progress from masculine to feminine the way we're meant to. All right, my darlings, thank you.
All right.
We'll see everyone next week. And we'll see everyone in the courses. I hope you all have a good week. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.